Hello and welcome to another episode of Alliance Redwoods Camp at Home series. Here at Alliance, I go by Rafiki, and it is my pleasure to walk in the woods with you today. We are going to give you a couple of tips on some knot tying basics. We'll be going over a few knots that we naturalists have found super useful while venturing outdoors or while at home. And to do that today, we are going to go into a place that we rarely let students follow us. So, will you please follow Rafiki this way and we'll take you into our rope shed. Alright, here we go. Maybe one day one of our naturalists can give you a proper introduction and tour of our rope shed. But today we're here because I need a rope. There you are. And you might need one too, but you may be wondering, Rafiki, where in the world am I gonna get a rope at home? Well, good news is, my friends, you don't actually need one of these ropes or even one of these fancy climbing ropes. All you need at home is just something that behaves kind of like a rope would. So it could be any number of things that you might find around the house. In fact, a great rope that many of us walk around in every day is our shoelaces. Just make sure that you leave one of your shoes laced so that you remember what your shoe is supposed to look like after you're done tying our knots today. So go ahead and hit pause real quick and take a few minutes to find something around the house that you could use to practice with me today. A couple of basic knot tying principles 101. I'm gonna go ahead and put these guys away and I'll see you back here in a few seconds. Alright, let me pull up my rope. Here's what we'll use today. Let's get started. Our first knot today is probably going to be very familiar to you. Many of us use it every day to lace up and tie up those shoes. It's a simple overhand knot. I'm going to need to bring you a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. You take your rope and you fold a loop into your rope. Then you take one end and pass it through that loop that you just made, and then pull the two ends tight. It's a simple knot, but not a very strong knot. Sure, sometimes it can be very tough to untie, but the strength of the knot is actually in the strength of the rope. So because this tight bend puts a lot of stress in the rope, we don't use this knot here at camp to keep things secure. Every knot that you put into your rope is going to change how strong your rope actually is. Another equally simple knot that keeps its strength is a figure 8 knot. But before I show you how to tie it, we're going to first need to go over a little bit of knot tying lingo. A rope generally has two ends. One end generally does all of the work, so we're going to call this end the working end. The other end generally stands around doing nothing. This end we call the standing end. Folding a loop into your rope is called making a loop. Pinching a loop into your rope is called making a bight. To tie a figure 8 knot, you're going to want to decide which end of your rope is which. This is going to be my working end, this is going to be my standing end. I'm going to take my working end and I'm going to pass it over top of the standing end here, and it will create a loop. Then I'm going to take that working end and pass it beneath the standing end, and you will notice that now we have created a figure 8 pattern. But to make it a figure 8 knot, we're going to need to finish it off by passing through the working end into that loop, the first one that we made, and then pull it tight, and you'll see that the figure 8 maintains its shape all the way to tightening. This gentle loop is much less stressful on the rope than an overhand knot. I'll go ahead and throw one on the rope here real quick, and you can see that it pinches the rope much more tightly than this one, which is much gentler on the rope. You may have noticed that both of them started by making a loop. However, it's the second loop that allows the figure 8 to let the rope maintain most of its strength. There is, however, an even more practical knot that we use all the time here at camp, and it uses the same principle of the figure 8. We'll show you how to do that one next. Now those were two very simple knots, and both have their uses. But here at Alliance Redwoods, we have an even sturdier knot that we have found to be especially practical to keep you secure while you're on our challenge courses. And that is the figure 8 on a bite. It's an ugly figure 8 on a bite. Hang on just a second. Let's try that again. It is one of the strongest knots that you can learn to tie. It is the figure 8 on a bite. For this knot, you are going to want to lay both of your ends of your rope in the same direction. Then you're going to take the loop at the opposite end of the U that you have just made. And you're going to pinch it together, and you have created a bite. And you're going to take that bite around the end of your rope. You're going to go over top of your 2 strands first, which are now the standing end, and the bite is the working end. Then, following the steps of the figure 8, we have created a loop. Now we need to go around the back. So we are going to go again and go around behind that standing end. And we're not going to go through the loop yet. We need to make a second loop. So we're going to get a little bit more length on our bite. Here we are. And then we're going to then send, once we come all the way around, we're going to send that bite through that first loop that we made. And there, just going to dress it up a little bit for you, is a figure 8 on a bite. Now, instead of just a piece of rope at the end of your rope, you have a sturdy loop that can be used for all manner of applications. Here at Alliance Redwoods, we would throw a finishing knot on the top of this just for added security, and then we would use this figure 8 loop to keep you secure as you climb up our challenge courses. This is one of the strongest knots that you can tie. As long as there is something attached to this bite, there is very little chance of this knot coming undone on accident. And that makes this knot a very strong knot. Well, that's all the time that we have for in this episode. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe for more upcoming episodes of content put out by your naturalists here at Alliance Redwoods. If you would like to show off your knot tying skills, make sure that you drop by our Facebook and Instagram, links down below in the description, and we'd love to see what you can come up with. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Alliance Redwoods Camp at Home series. Once again, my name is Rafiki, and it has been my pleasure to show you the ropes today. I hope to see you again in future episodes. Until then, asante sana, and hakuna matata. Did I get the closing door?